Blessings, BookTube. Today we're going to look at some Nigerian literature. I'm going to highlight 15 of these 50 authors. The reason I really like to do this is to tell you that there are so many great writers in Africa. This is just one country and one moment in time, and there are 50 in this one book. And I'd love to highlight more of them, but I think, 15 is probably the most that most people can handle at one time. So we're not going to be looking at the 9 that I had already read, which I'm going to go ahead and assume are the most well-known, which is Ken Saro-Wiwa from the Literary Prize there is named, Ben Okri, Femi Osofisan, Amos Tutuola, Buchi Emecheta, Cyprian Ekwensi, and then 3 that I think you'll definitely know, Chimamanda Adichie, Chinua Achebe, of course, from Things Fall Apart, and Wole Soyinka, the Nobel laureate. So I'm going to add a 10th to my list from one of these 15 and improve my knowledge of Nigerian literature. So most of the ones that I didn't feature were poets, of which there are a ton, and playwrights. There's a very thriving play theater scene in Nigeria, which is wonderful. Now, I do want to mention that there's a lot more to African literature than South Africa, Nigeria, the usual suspects for the Anglophones anyway. The Francophones have their own 3-4 favorite countries that they know authors from. These, for some reason, are the favorite countries, but I'm sure every country could put out a book like this. This just happens to be Nigeria's. And what a great find at the library. So it's a big book. I took some pictures. I think I'm within fair use. I try my best. Let's have a look-see at who we're going to talk about today. So let's start with Fagunwa. So Fagunwa writes in Yoruba. You can see here he's a chief of the Yoruba. He's also MBE, which is like an OBE, one a level of knighthood in England. And he's the first, because I did these chronologically by birthday. So he was born in 1903. And you can see his big work here is Forest of a Thousand Demons, for which they have an excerpt page, which I read, which was really good. And then hopefully if you watch this on a TV, you'll be able to maybe read the selected works there. I'm not going to bore you all with giving you all of them. I'm just going to give you a couple little tidbits about each person. So there we go. The doyen of Yoruba literature in Nigeria. Next, we have a Hausa writer who writes in Hausa, which is from the north of Nigeria. This is Abubakar Imam. He is editor and publisher and editor of the newspaper Gaskiya, which is sort of the literary scene of the north there. And you can see he's got a number of novels that he wrote there as well. Ruwan Bagaja is the one that they excerpted, which I read from, which was also excellent. And he was a chairman of the Public Service Commission. What you're going to see is almost all of these writers, especially going back further. There's a few now in the more recent times that, are sort of students. But all of these folks worked in professions, generally government or academia. Right, so Aluko, TM Aluko. Now going forward, most of these guys now will be writing in English, which of course is only going to be one of the many languages that they know. And they may write a little bit in other languages as well, but it does seem that as we go on, it's more and more writing in English. Now he got his, he's a public health engineer, and he got his book published, Our Born Again President, which is a great excerpt, really funny, at age 91. So those of you who think it's too late for you to get started, no, here he goes, 91 publishing this book. Amazing. All right, so moving on. Don't worry, there are some lady writers coming up. Lady writers. There are some writers who happen to be women coming up. In the further back days, it does tend to be more men. This guy wrote Eze Goes to School. He's let's see, Onuara Nzekwu, and he's Igbo nationality or ethnicity, and he worked a lot with the news agency of Nigeria. So some of his books are Blade Among the Boys. It's a lot of exploration of traditional versus Christian things. He wrote, as I said, As It Goes to School, and plays, a bunch of plays as well. And yeah, that's Nzekwu. Okay, Adebayo Faleti, love that hat. So Adebayo Faleti is Yoruba again, although he does a lot in French. He studied French. He was also in TV and radio, and wrote a lot of poems. And he was in movies as well. And he wrote some things. His poems including Ijamba Oda Oba, Adembimpe, Ajedukon. But this is his one of his big novels here, The Freedom Fight. It's really fun. Selection there to read as well. And I am going to share one selection from one of these authors with you soon. Here we go. The, what do they call her? Lauded as the mother of modern African literature. So this is Flora Nwapa, and her work is Efuru. And that's the selection that I'm going to share with you. A little more about her. She was Commissioner of Social Welfare and Health, and Efuru was taken from a traditional folktale. They saw each other fairly often, and after a fortnight's courting, she agreed to marry him. But the man had no money for the dowry. Just a quick aside, when I was in Mali in the 90s, men, in order to accumulate a bride price for a first wife or an only wife, generally had to go what they call an exodus, which is to go work somewhere in a cash economy, so in one of the cities. So I was in a rural village in Mali, and if not, they had to collect and sell firewood for about 2 to 3 years in order to accumulate enough for a bride price. So you can see it's quite a big deal. All right, so the man had no money for the dowry. He had just a few pounds for the farm and could not part with that. When the woman saw that he was unable to pay anything, she told him not to bother about the dowry. They were going to proclaim themselves married, and that was that. Efuru was her name. She was a remarkable woman. It was not only that she came from a distinguished family. She was distinguished herself. Her husband was not known, and people wondered why she married him. Now, it was after the festival in which young men and young women looked for wives and husbands that Efuru first met Adizwa. Adizwa asked her to marry him, and she agreed. One moonlit night, they went out. They talked of a number of things, their life and their happiness. Efuru told him that she would drown herself in the lake if he did not marry her. Adizwa told her he loved her very much and that even the dust she trod on meant something to him. What about the dowry, the woman asked. You'll come to me on Nkwo Day. Every place will be quiet that day, being market day. Take a few clothes with you and come to me. We shall talk about the dowry after. Efuru agreed and went home feeling very happy and light. It's late, Efuru. Where are you coming from? One of her cousins asked her as she opened the gate of the compound. Compound is like usually a walled area in which the extended family has several houses all within one sort of complex. Don't you see the moon? Is that the reason why you should come home so late? I shall tell your father. Excuse me, a young woman like you should not be out so late. I don't care whom you tell. The next morning, the cousin went to Efuru's father and told him that he had seen Efuru at a very late hour last night, and when he asked her why she was so late, she was rude to him. My brother, help me to talk. I am tired of talking. I don't know what is wrong with young women of these days. I noticed that Ofuru has been coming home late for quite some time. I asked her whom she was seeing so late, and she said nothing. If her mother were alive, she would have known how to handle her. Do you think there is a man in her life? I think so, my brother. If the man wants to marry her, there is nothing wrong about that. The man should come and fulfill the customs of our people and marry her. But as it seems now, I don't think the man in question wants to marry her, and that is dangerous. What if she gets pregnant? Who will look after her now that her mother is dead? I shall do my best to be of any help to you. I shall investigate. This busy, buzzy, investigating cousin. On Kwo Day, when everybody had gone to the market, Efuru prepared herself. She had her bath very early in the stream. She took great care that morning over her appearance. Her father was not at home. She took a few of her belongings and went to her lover's house. Now the mother of the young man went to the market. When she returned, she was surprised to see Efuru's clothes and a few other possessions in her son's room. The young man was quick to explain. He told his mother that Efuru was his wife. I have no money for the dowry yet. Efuru herself understands this. We have agreed to be husband and wife, and that is all that matters. The young man's mother was excited for her son, that her son had indeed made a good choice. You are welcome, my daughter, but your father, what will we say to him? What will you say to him? Leave that to me, I shall settle it myself. Now Furu's father returned from the market and did not see his daughter. Perhaps she went to the stream, he said to himself. But Ifuru did not return. Just when he was about to go to bed, he heard a knock at the door. Who is that? It's a man. Open the door. Oh, is that you, my brother? Did you see Efuru? Efuru has run away to a young man. It is a shame. Our enemies will glory in this. The young man is nobody. His family is not known. Efuru has brought shame on us. Something must be done immediately to get her back. What's going to happen? All right, very exciting stuff. Okay, thank you, Flor Nwapa, for that. Efuru, check it out, give it a read. It might be my 10th Nigerian novel. It might be the one to put on the list. There's one other in contention. All right, we got next Chukwemeka Ike, and he writes funny campus novels, of which obviously this selection they chose here, Sunset and Dawn, is not one. But yeah, he writes funny campus novels. He's also a monarch, and I love his title. Here's his and he's also a professor. His title is Majesty as a Professor Chukwemeka Ike, Ike Leonwu 11th, Eze Njekeluonyu. I love that in the middle of that long title, the professor is in there. That's how big a deal it is, even for the traditional monarchy of, does it say which ethnicity? Anambra State Traditional Rulers Council. And he also started the Nigerian Book Fair, or was part of starting that. Okay, Kole Omotso. Yeah, there we go. He is, let's see, he also knows Arabic. He studied as a PhD, I believe, in Arabic prose and drama. And he has a Penguin classic devoted to him called Combat. So that might be just by ease of my finding it, the 10th book I read. And it's supposed to be funny as well. A satire. Okay, next we have Akachi Ezeigbo. She won the NLNG Kid Prize. She wrote for the Independent, also the Post Express, so journalist, and writes critical literary criticism as well. And her children's novel, My Cousin, as I said, won the Nigerian Prize for Literature. She also wrote House of Symbols, which won the was on the list of 25 best by Spectrum Books. All right, so check her work out. Last of the Strong Ones was also a very interesting excerpt from that one I read. Okay, Festus Iyayi. Now, he studied industrial economy in Kiev, so the Russian connection. I don't remember if Nigeria, like Mali, was one of the non-aligned countries, sort of being courted by both the U.S. and Russia. Every once in a while, you meet Africans who have been to Russia and or Cuba. He was jailed for a lot of union work. He was big in unions, academic union, but a Benin City guy. And his book that I read the excerpt from was Heroes. That was quite good. And it's set with his two others, Violence and The Contract. Okay. Zainab Alkali, she's from the north. And she won the ANA prize. She wrote The Virtuous Woman was the one excerpted here. I think it was The Stillborn, The Cobwebs, was it Jubilee? Anyway, she's got a number of prizes and titles there. And she was a district, can't quite read my handwriting there. Anyway, she was also in civil service, it looks like, probably. Oh, no, Nigerian Woman of Distinction Award. That's what that is. She received the Nigerian Woman of Distinction Award. There you go. I got there at the end. Okay, Abubakar Gimba. Gimba was the name of my boss when I was in Mali. Okay, Gimba. Now, he's from the north as well. He was a bank director. But he studied at the Iowa. He did the Iowa Writers Program, which, as many of you know, is, churns out some big writers. His excerpted work here was Witness to Tears, Wale Okediran. He won the Wole Soyinka Prize. He set up the Nigerian Writers Retreat. He was also in that Spectrum list of 25 titles like Dreams, Died, Twilight, etc. Here was an excerpt from Tenants of the House, which was fun. And Helon Habila is a journalist, won the Kane Prize, and teaches a lot at universities in the States and writes about the oil stuff in the Niger Delta. You can see Oil on Water was the title excerpted for him. He edited the Granta Book of African Short Stories. And Lola Shoneyin is another graduate from the Iowa, the computer cuts out every once in a while, from the Iowa program. And she wrote this tragic comic work, really great excerpt, The Secret Lives of Baba Segi's Wives. So there you go, 15 great Nigerian authors for you to check out in this amazing book, if you can find it. That's why I really wanted to take some time to really cover a certain amount of the content from this, because I don't think you probably can easily find it. But if you do, you should buy it. It's a big book, but it's pretty. It's be fun, nice thing to have on your coffee table. Show off how diverse you are. And there it is, Nigerian Literature, A Coat of Many Colors, compiled and edited by KOKO Kalango, with a foreword by Dr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, an anthology of 50 Nigerian authors in 50 years. Should have checked the date of publication. It includes more recent authors like Adichie, but if I remember correctly, none of her more recent titles were in there. So it's The book is not brand new, but we're tracking down. All right. Well, thank you, and send a comment. Let's see. Tell me about your favorite African authors, and I'll try to track down more of these. How should we say, anthology books for you if I can, because I know that BookTube loves an anthology, lists of things. So although I do mainly one-off reviews, I try to do some of these lists for you. Pretty much whenever I go to the library, I look for something for you. So, okay, bye.